Right, it is an era of new musical theatre in Dublin with a new show about the famine coming to the Mansion House this summer.
To talk all things Celtic Exodus, our actors Phelim Drew and Wolfe Tones legend and songwriter Brian Warfield. Hello, it's a pleasure having you here.
Oh, thank you for having us, really. It's an exciting moment for me because I've had this on the back burner since '95, would you believe? And it's something I always wanted to do. And I'm a lover of musicals. I love music, as you well know. And I've written hundreds and hundreds of songs, but I wanted to tell a story about Ireland.
Yeah.
And like every country, where you see all the great musicals, Oklahoma, America, you know, Les Mis.
Yeah.
And everybody has a show except the Irish.
Yeah.
And I said, I got to write a show and bring Ireland to Hollywood, and bring Ireland to Broadway. So that's my ambition, whether I get there or not, but I'm going.
You're going. And get along for the ride. Phelim, jump on board.
Whether they like it or not.
So tell us, like, whenever you have a project like this for so long, why is it taking? Because like there's Irish pubs all over the world. There's the Irish culture and history is all over the world. Why is it taking so long to get a show about it?
Money.
Okay. Yeah.
Simply money.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to Larry Bass first, and I said, you know, the product played some of the music I had and all, fantastic. He says, but you won't get it on unless you have this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said a lot of people won't invest in musicals because they're a bit dodgy.
Right.
So it says, unless you have loads of money, it's not going to go anywhere.
So now you have loads of money, so there we're going then, isn't it?
Well, it's good to hear because, like we know, The Pirate Queen was one that was tried and it didn't quite work on Broadway. But it seems like the receipts in the West End are doing quite well. The touring shows, gosh, there is this desire for musical. And Phelim, you're involved in this at the beginning. Tell us about the show.
Well, it's a love story set against the famine. And there are two families. There's the young man Sean's family and Siobhan, and her father is quite ruthless and self-serving, and I'm playing that character. And you know, but he does redeem himself before the end. You know, he recognises that he backed the wrong horse, and you know, it's a fantastic show. The music is wonderful.
Yeah.
There are great songs, and the story is fantastic. But the choreography is amazing. You know, the show was done workshopped. And performed last year for a number of performances. And I saw a recording of that, and I was blown away by the standard of the dancing.
We were talking earlier on about the Irish language and how important it is to teach young people the importance of the Irish language, given the history of Ireland as well.
Yeah.
The famine is such a big part of Irish culture and history that maybe has been forgotten about. So having a musical is very important to go and express and sell that story, and even with the love story involved in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think the problem was, it's not really a problem, but if you to tell a story of such a sad moment in history, how do you do it? I didn't want to bore people with sadness, so I used the characters to tell the story. Now, they're living life as life was lived back then in the 1840s. And I think it shows that how life was in the first part of the show. And, you know, they're arranging a marriage for the daughter, for instance, as it was done. And you know, she doesn't like the guy. She hates him.
No, this arranged marriage, a bad one. Phelim's like pushing her into
there's money there.
marriage.
Yeah.
And there's
He's the
money.
bad father.
There's money there.
But I think it's interesting because you said there, you know, this is something that is in our collective consciousness, right?
Yes.
Well, people might be sitting there going, oh, a musical about the famine. But Les Mis is about the revolution. You know, it's about
That's
a
right.
revolution,
Yeah,
and people
yeah,
are singing these songs.
Yeah.
So did you have that in mind going, I'm talking about something so important. I want these songs to resonate with people, but they also have to be, well, I want to sing along to it as well.
No, but like some of them are about having love, for instance. Like we have songs about, which tells a story about what is love. And then this father is the bad father.
Phelim, my God, it's going to be a long summer for you.
He has to sing a song like love is all just vanity. He's making a case against love, you know what I mean? Love is all just vanity, abstract and illusionary. You know what I mean? So he's saying, forget your love, you know. We arrange marriages here, it's about money.
Money.
Tell us about the music, because obviously musical, it's the big part of it, but you think of Les Mis, you think of some of the big Broadway hits. The music is what has everybody up out of their seats and what can change a sad story into an uplifting story.
Yeah, well, there's wonderful songs here. We have an opening there, and the opening is absolutely unbelievable. And it ends up in a dance. And it's a Bieltana, and they had dance for the Mayballs. And then after the dance, Bucky's beaten in the dance, young Bucky.
Yeah.
And McDonagh wins it. But Bucky says, you might beat me at the dance, but you won't beat me at stick fighting. Stick fighting was big back in the... Botabula.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and so they have a stick fight. And Bucky gets a big stone or rock and has McDonagh on the ground, and he goes down and he says, you'll never dance again.
Oh.
Okay, that's a bit...
Breaks his leg.
Okay.
Breaks his leg.
Yeah, breaks his legs.
Right.
You'll never dance again.
You're looking forward to doing all of this?
Terrible man.
You're doing this in the posh surrounds of the mansion house, by the way, Phelim.
Yeah, where the first doll sat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of tied up in history. I know there's an American connection, obviously, with Celtic Exodus and all this kind of stuff. So it's going to be imbued with this whole sense of history, what it's about and where it is. Must be amazing.
I'm really excited to be a part of it. So we go into rehearsals in a few weeks' time. We're going to have a few workshops before then.
Yeah.
But the show starts on the 20th of July and plays until the 20th of August. And there are 4 opportunities to see the show at the weekends. Yeah. So we'll be kept busy. And I think tickets can be booked through Celtic Exodus.
You're on it.
Celtic Exodus website, CelticExodusmusical.com if you do want to get tickets. 20th of July to the 20th of August. Like, that's a month. Like, Brian, you've just turned 80. Congratulations. Like,
happy birthday.
You're going to be a busy man because you're taking part in this as well.
Apart from that, we're going to Glasgow with Wolfe Tones on the 25th.
Right.
You've had, is it 6 farewell tours now the Wolfe Tones have had?
We've 4 in the 3 Arena all sold out this come July.
They sold out, so it was incredible.
Yeah, incredible. And they wanted to do more, but I think the older guys and the group didn't want to do them.
When are you going to do Croke Park?
Next year.
Yeah.
Next year.
Well, I mean, Katie Taylor she's sold 40,000 tickets, I think, in pre-sale there. I mean, when you sold out the 3 Arena, how many times? 4 times in a row?
4 times, yeah.
How amazing would it be to do a
Well, I find that would be the crown of a long career. We started back in 1963. I was only 15, and since then I've probably written about 250 songs for the Wolfe Tones. We always did original music. I never ever copied a song like Chancel, Roddy McCarley, that kind of easy way out. I write my own music. I write my own stories.
And to stay at the front, because obviously people talk about the Wolfe Tones and their cultural impact and the desire to have new people discovering time and time again, people interpreting your music. How does it feel to be, discussed in the zeitgeist still?
Well, I'm very proud of what we did over the years. We've had troubles going through the Troubles, because people kind of put us in a box and said, yeah, you can't sing songs about rebellion. You can't sing A Nation Once Again. You can't sing, I think it was one of the producers in RTE said, we got to put in a couple of songs, and A Nation Once Again was one of them. And he said, no, can't do that in the show. And why not? I heard Frank Patterson sing it there at some show about 4 weeks ago. He said, the difference is when the Wolfe Tones sing it, they mean it.
Okay, well, I might have had you there.
Brian.
Right, listen, as you say, you're going to be both extremely busy. God help you, Phelim, playing that character now for the next month. 20th of July to the 20th of August. Celtic Exodus musical.com. That's where you can go to get your tickets. Brian Warfield and Phelim Drew, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to see you this morning. So good to have a chat with you.